Alright, so thanks for checking out my Kickstarter to start out with. But my name is Justin Smith. I am working on this game called Skandrelz, as you can see on the screen there. The game kind of stems from a little handheld device that was released by, I think, Hasbro back in the early 2000s. And the device essentially, you would scan a UPC code and you would have to fight monsters, or you could capture them if they were of your own tribe, I think is the way it was set up. Another thing is that you could collect items, like healing items that would heal your monsters that you collected. So stemming from that, I kind of came up with the idea of a mobile device. And once I had done that, me and a couple others sat down and kind of started hashing out the different things that we needed to do in order to make a successful game like that from a mobile app. Since we started talking about it and whatnot, we kind of have hashed over the design of how we need to do certain things and stuff like that, which, as you can see, we have somewhat of a working model of it. This is still in development. It's not in an alpha phase or a beta phase just yet. But I wanted to go ahead and get the Kickstarter set up for this because I didn't want funding to be an issue. We got things like a copyright that we have to get, the account for Google Play. You actually have to pay for the account, which I guess is a way to deter scammers and such. And we also, I think you have to pay for the premium account because we'll be taking in payments for our microtransactions, our premium content. So while we're kind of talking on premium content, one thing that we did go into this thinking was we don't need to nickel and dime our players. We do need to make money in order to make a stable environment. We have to pay for the database, that the back-end database that will allow us to use your accounts over different devices and keep track of what you scan, so that way the items that you get, or the reusable items, we know that when you scan that item in the next 24 hours, you get the same item over and over again. By having a database, of course, allows us to do that, and it stops people from gaming the system, because if we stored that on your devices, you can actually go in and change things, and people could easily go in there and just give themselves whatever they wanted. So that was one of the things that we require funding for. The database has been purchased, but you do have to pay monthly for it. Right now we're using it as a development tool, so we don't have to pay as much. Doesn't need as many, as much data and such. So it's not too bad. And we're eating that cost right now, which is fine. It's a development of an unknown game title, unknown game company. So yeah. But enough really boring you with those details. We'll kind of get into it as we look over the game here. Alright, so I've already put in my username and my password here. The reason I went ahead and done that is because when you type this out, it actually will show you what my password is, so we won't do that. As you can see, you'll have the splash screen here of Skandrelz. This is probably the logo we will stick with, but like I said, this is in development, so anything you see here is subject to change as we kind of hash out after the design changes we have to make. Things don't always work as they should. So I won't go into the sign up page just yet because we have to work on the background for that. But you should know when you create an account, you have to use a valid email address. So we use that for password resets and stuff like that. But when you sign up, you'll actually get an activation code, and that's going to help us deter scammers from making multiple accounts and things like that. So if we go ahead and we'll log in. Alright, so here is the home screen, and as you see, there's like nothing on it just yet. The home screen is work in progress. We gotta find something to fill it up with. At the moment, it's just got the basic icons that you're going to be using for getting around the application. This one right here is the scan icon. It's the biggest one because the scanning activity is the meat of this application, so we need it to be really stand out. This little battery icon is kind of what we came up with so far for our energy. So when you scan things, you actually have an energy bar. And the reason for this, I would love for everybody to be able to go around and just scan everything that they have. But the issue is now, since that little handheld device has been created, you can go online and just create any kind of barcode that you want. Which, on the subject of barcodes, as you see here, I've got some sandpaper, and you can see the barcode on the back there. So this application can scan any barcode, and it does QR codes. There's a few other codes that it can do. I'm not 100% sure. It's based on the library that I found. That way we didn't have to redesign the wheel kind of thing. So yeah, back to this. You can actually go online and create any kind of barcode that you want. So what happens is when you scan a barcode in this application, it hits on the database to see if you scanned it before. If you have, it checks to see if it's a reusable code. If it is, then within 24 hours, if you haven't scanned it, then you get that item again and again. So you want to save the barcodes for certain things, like you could have a barcode that gives you a healing item. Well, that barcode, after 24 hours, you can reuse that barcode again to get another healing item. And the good thing about that is you want to save up all your barcodes, and I'm sure there will be people making little folders on their machines with labeled, healing items, and I'm sure after a long time they're going to have like 1,000 of them, but that's something that comes with the game. It's just like when you're playing an MMO, eventually you get to the point that you're just you're surpassed the point that you have to worry about those beginner items because you can just make them or get them so easily, so that's pretty much the way that this is going to work. Now if you haven't scanned it before, you have the chance of finding an item or finding a creature. Well, when you find a creature, you actually have to battle it, and we will go into that, but it is still a little bit buggy at the moment. We had it working, but then we had to go in and add where the user experience and the monster experience gets dealt out for leveling. And so that kind of broke things at the moment. We're working through it. But with that said, it ain't going to halt development or anything like that. When you're creating these kind of applications and stuff, things just come up. So I think at the moment we have a go live date of March of next year, 2019. So I have no doubt in my mind that we could easily make that. I'm hoping at least by December we'll have it completed, and then I want to spend the next couple of months doing testing. So there is that. Now, the Kickstarter, you don't get access to any alpha, access or anything like that. You will see, as we're testing and stuff, I will be posting updates and showing you what we're up to, all the different changes we've made, and those kinds of things. But, like I left off here, I keep on getting sidetracked. But we have the energy bar here that will you'll have like 100 energy or so, and then each time you scan it you'll lose an energy, and then every 30 minutes or so you'll regain X amount of energy. We'll also have energy items which will allow you to boost up your energy, and we've been playing around with the idea of having a max out energy, like a blowout. So I wanted to make it where if you got more energy than your cap, you get to save it, because if you use an item or something like that and it goes over, I don't want you to have wasted X amount of energy. So we might have where you can like overpower the charge and might get a boost or something for that. Still playing around with that. But yeah, that is the scanning function and everything. And down here, this big ugly button, this is for our testing purposes. I didn't want to have to go and scan a barcode each time I wanted to test the scanning, because we test the scanning and it's working. Nothing wrong there. But I wanted to test the battling system and things like that. So I made this button down here that will allow us to test that. And I'm going to leave that to the very last, because that is the buggy part of the game right now, and I don't want the application to close down while we're in here looking about and stuff and have to pause. So the button that I just clicked on there, it is the creature inventory. So this is where you'll find all your creatures, and it's kind of, I don't know if you've ever played it, but like Pokemon Go and games of that sort, you do have like a list of all the creatures you've collected, and this is essentially that. So first of all, this active creature here is your main creature, and when you first start up the game, you will be able to get a random first creature, and when you get that is your main creature that this fictitious company, Aprifix Technologies, has given you to test with. As you can see, that is the image of Yandath. So Yandath, this one in particular, is level 2, and I have fought recently something with him, and he has 7 health out of 10, so he got damaged in the process. So if we actually click on him, it'll bring up the details page about him. So you'll see Yandath is his name, his level, the defense, the attack, the HP. We wanted to make sure that the stats were somewhat non-complicated. You don't want to have like, oh, he's got strength, intelligence, dexterity, and all this plays into this. We could have easily made it like that. It does take more coding, because you have to take all those values into consideration when you're figuring up things. But I wanted this application to be good for everybody, from the youngest player all the way up to the oldest. Video games like this shouldn't require a bunch of math or add-on applications to figure out if it's good or not. But as you can see, these are the different abilities that this Yandath has. Now, I say this Yandath because all of the creatures can have a multitude of abilities. There's not just a fire creature or a water creature. They can be just about anything. And there are a lot of different combinations that you can end up with. I've done the math at one point. I totally forgot about it, but we'll do that in another update. I'll figure out the math again. But there's healing abilities and things like that. And then they all, one thing that you can't see here is that each of the creatures has a weakness and it has a strength. You can't see it here because one of the things that we wanted to do was to have you battle each one of these creatures and see if you can figure out if they have a weakness or a strength to a certain extent. Because the way I see it is, if this was real in real life, you would have to investigate that to see what this in particular creature has an affinity to. What's his weakness, what's his strength, and all that. So I think that it gives it a lot of replay ability by doing that. And as you see here in the description, I've got it written down here, a little snippet about this creature, and I like it because it gives it a little bit of flavor. It's not just here's this game, you collect all these things and there's no background story to any of it, and that's not going to be the case. You're going to have little snippets that you'll piece together that some of these creatures interact with each other, and before you scanned them out of their world and into your application. So while we're on the subject of story here and talking about the description, one thing we'll touch on real quick is the story of the application. So essentially this application was developed by Afrofix Technologies, and they have found out that you can find these creatures on their world through barcodes. So barcodes kind of act like portals to other worlds, but it's not an exact technology. So every time you scan one, you get a little bit something different. So like the items, you'll get the items from different places. It's not going to be, it's not going to be a constant. Like, for instance, Yandath here comes from the planet Bruna. So Bruna can have all kinds of different inhabitants, and you'll see that there are other creatures in the game that comes from this planet and that has interacted with Yandath at some point. And there's no gameplay mechanics yet that does anything with that. We might do it later, of like tribes or something. Like, you might get a buff if they're enemies, due to their background story or something. But, we're still playing around with that. As of right now, it is not going to be in the vanilla version of this game. So, something to think about. But yeah, Afrofix Technologies is collecting all these creatures, and you're essentially studying them. You're figuring out how they work and things like that. And you don't know exactly why Afrofix Technologies would want to do this. And in your eyes, this could just be a game that you're playing. You don't realize that this is a real creature, So they might have their own nefarious plot to, take over the world or something with these creatures. So we plan on putting little glitches in there too. Your game might do some crazy stuff, and you'll get a little Easter egg of what Afrofix Technologies is up to, and little communications and things like that. So jumping back over here, we'll go ahead and close out the creature here. We're back at the creature page. Now, one thing that you'll notice, I'll click back over here, there's no extra buttons here. This is just it. So if we go out and we go, let's see, let's go to Crumb. Crumb's pretty cool. Alright, so you can see Crumb has some extra buttons. And you see that he's got a different description, and his stats are different. Just a second. Alright. So, these buttons here, this one is the Make Main button. So if you want to fight with Crumb, like if you want to use Crumb to battle other creatures with, you're going to want to switch them to your main. We're going to just cancel that right now. We don't want to do that. This button hasn't been fixed yet, but this is going to be the trade button, and you'll be able to trade these creatures with your friends. You'll have to have a code of some sort, just like kind of like Pokemon Go, in the sense that you have to have a friend code, that kind of thing. This, you'll have to have that, and it'll sync you up with the person that you want to trade with. But you don't have to be in the same area. You can do this over the internet. And then the last button is this. So you do have a limit on how many creatures that you can have. If we go back here, you can see the base limit is 40. And right now I have 12. That's 12 including all of these and my main. So if we get up to 40, we're going to want to get rid of some creatures here to make room for, more. So if we click that, it'll actually allow you to delete the creature. And deleting is you're sending the creature's data to Afrofix Technologies so they can study it. So we'll just cancel all that for now. But as you can see, I also switched to a different Crumb here, and he's got different abilities too. He's actually at 0 HP because I've been testing with him. I like Crumb. He's pretty cool. And this one died on me. So I've got to get some healing items and get him healed up. And he's also got different abilities here. He's got a Cold Blast and an Energy Heal. So those are two different ones that we've seen so far. But yeah, close that out, and we'll close that out. So it brings us back to the main screen here. Another thing that we are currently working on is this one. This is the stats page for your user page. So in here you actually have your username, what level you are, the current XP that you have, the amount of XP you need to level to the next level, the stats you're going to have, how many battles you've won, how many friends you have fought, items found, all this good stuff. So right now it's at 0 because I haven't hooked all that stuff up yet. And it gets kind of complicated with that because every time you do one of those things, you have to update that number by 1. So we're in the process of doing that. Another complicated thing is the tasks. So tasks are kind of like the quests or missions of the game. You'll have quests to collect like 3 different of one creature, or find X amount of a certain item, or scan X amount of barcodes, fight in so many battles, that kind of thing. And you'll be able to view it here, your progression in that, and you'll get different things. One of the things that you'll be able to get are coins, which is our premium content currency. And you'll be able to get them from the tasks. So not everybody has to pay money for the game. It helps us out greatly when you do, because, you know, if we don't have enough people to do that, the game kind of falls apart if you're not purchasing. So we might even have to go to an ad kind of format of putting ads in the game, and I hate ads. So I'm trying to avoid that, and, you know, we're going to see how it plays out and everything, and you know, how this Kickstarter goes and whatnot. But I am very positive about, you know, everything, and I'm hoping it all works out, and I'm pretty sure it will work out. But yeah, the premium coins, you'll be able to get them and use them in our in-game shop to buy items and things like that. There will be some items that are really hard to get in the game that you have to buy out of the shop, but you can still get them in the game. The only thing at this point in time that you wouldn't be able to get as a premium content is we have plans on some rare monster packs where you'll get a couple of monsters for, like, you know, $1 or 99 cents or something like that. So you know, we're still playing around with that idea, but yeah, you'll be getting coins and stuff like that. Another thing that you'll be getting coins for is battling. I think we figured it up. Every time you win a battle, you're going to get a coin. And the good thing about that is that's mainly how you're going to keep up your energy. You're going to have to battle for energy. The battles will not cost any energy, and you can do those all the time, all day, every day if you want to. If you got enough healing potions and enough creatures to do it with. So that's really cool thing about it, because most applications nowadays, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. So they'll allow you to get about 5 levels into the game, and then all of a sudden it slows down. As there's a timer on everything, and it's going to take days to do this, days to do that. So you're checking in on the game. You're not always playing it. Well, this allows you to always be playing it if you want to, which I really liked. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And it's buggy, so we'll see how it goes. So Yandath here is my main, and we have found an Apex. So Apex is one of the creatures that from the game. Now, I'm not 100% sure if we're going to allow you to see their HP ahead of time. I'm thinking about that. You know, it adds a little bit of mystery to it, and you know, makes it a lot harder if you don't know if you need to heal or if you need to hit them. So we'll see. But one of the things I've got to add in here is the names of these abilities. Looking right offhand, that's Fire Blast, and this is Cold Blast. So if I click on them, I just damaged Apex for 2, and he failed to hit me. So that's really good. He has a lot more HP than me, and I doubt I'll survive this. So yeah. So he dealt 1 cold damage to me, and I did 3 fire to him. Now, one thing that you have to take in consideration here is that he has strengths and weaknesses as much as we have strengths and weaknesses. So if I'm hitting him with fire damage and it's not hurting him, then he's probably strong. I mean, he's probably not got a weakness to fire, you know. If I'm doing Cold Blast to him and it's hurting him, then he's got a weakness to cold. So that's cool. We need to use that, you know. So we'll actually try a Cold Blast now. And I didn't learn the attack. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not got a weakness against cold. That just means that the dice rolled and you didn't hit. So he did deal 2 damage to me with Cold Blast. So he's got Cold Blast too. And it's only done 2 damage, so more than likely I don't have a weakness to cold. So that's something to take away from this. So I just dealt 1 damage to him, and he just dealt 1 damage to me. Let's switch over to fire again, because we were doing really good with fire. Maybe he's got a fire weakness. Both of us failed to attack each other, so we're kind of just standing around looking at each other. Another thing that I'd like to bring up too is that I plan on doing animations, little attack animations for all of this, because it is a very 2D kind of game, and I think adding some attack animations will liven it up a little bit. But I do plan on doing that. So if I hit like Fire Blast, he's going to get Fire Blasted, you know. And we are losing horribly, and we're probably going to die on this next go. So I'm going to hit it. Oh, and it stopped working because it's buggy right now. But as you saw, I went into a -1, which is fine. We can go into negative numbers. That's not what's bugging this out. It's all the experience thing. So I lost this battle, but I, as well as Yandaf, will get a little bit of experience for that. You know, we're not going to let you walk away empty-handed. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from each battle. So even if you win or lose, you will get experience, just not as much. But yeah, that's pretty much the game up until now. I don't have a lot more left to finish up. This next icon right here is the inventory button, and this one is the battling button. So inventory, battling, the trade system, finish working the bugs out of the battling and giving XP and stuff like that, and then the user stats, getting the quests figured out and all that stuff. That's all that's left with this game, and I am very sure that I can meet the deadline of March. And like I said, we will probably get it done by December and start testing and actually get an Android device and show you on the device itself that it works. I've also got another emulator that I can hook up the webcam to and use that to scan barcodes with. Because right now I don't have a Android device to test with, so I'm using all these emulators, which they work. It's just the one that's built into Android Studio that I'm using. The webcam does not work as a camera, so that's kind of lame. I got to use a different emulator for that. But I'll one of the videos here soon, I'll show you that, because I can't record myself and that at the same time, because the webcam doesn't want to work with 2 different applications at the same time. So I kind of wanted to make this more personal as my first video of, you seeing me explaining it to you. And then from here out, we'll probably do more just audio and then me showing you the application. So I do appreciate your time, and I would like to thank everybody that's already donated. I think we're up to 61 last I checked, and that's really awesome within the first day, especially this being my first Kickstarter, and I'm really excited. But I would like to thank you guys for joining me on this, and I hope you do make a decision to donate to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to play it. My 7-year-old son, he's actually pushing me really hard to finish this application, because he spent like an hour or 2 just sitting here pushing the little ugly test button there and just fighting stuff. And he spent hours just going around our house and scanning things, grabbing things and bringing it in here, scanning it on the webcam. So I think it's got a lot to offer everybody, and I thank you for your time. Thanks.